Dang, that doesn't work. Okay. So we had a customer and an audience member that actually asked us a really valid question. They said, look, I have a Cybertruck and I'm really scared if it's going to get vandalized or not. And I can attest to that. I mean, I think in certain parts of the country, a lot of people don't like the Cybertrucks. So the question was, how do I get rid of spray paint if someone does spray paint my Cybertruck? And he said, you should totally do a video. So that's exactly what we are doing today. And we have this bumper. And if you've watched our channel quite a bit, you've probably seen this bumper before. We've shot BB guns. We've shot a bunch of stuff into this. So this has been through a lot. And it's going to go through even more now. And actually, our content producer has done a number to this right here. And it's very, very ugly. But just to introduce you to the contenders of what we're going to be doing today, we also have a steel plate that is currently drying right over there that we're also going to do at the end of the video. So make sure you click on that subscribe button because we are also going to be cleaning that as it dries. So first off, we have straight up paint. And this is a 2018 Model 3 bumper in silver metallic with bird poop right here in the corner that just came in hot literally 10 minutes ago. And then you got vinyl, but here's what we did differently here. Vinyl with CC means ceramic coating up here. This is without CC, ceramic coating. Same thing with here. This is the Avery Denizen PPF with ceramic coating up here, without, and then this is just ceramic coated down there. So that one is just straight up steel, right? The one that I showed you. So just keep that in mind. I think it should be dry enough, so I'm just gonna take that and have it ready. We are actually going to be testing a bunch of different solutions. And a lot of times when we do this video, we do a dry run, meaning we actually test everything. We didn't have time to do that. So this is actually the first time I'm trying to clean it. I've never had this question or have had to do this ever again, obviously. So that means that we're gonna figure it out together. So let's get started. We're gonna just do a whole thing in pressure washer. We're just gonna spray it down and just see how much can I get rid of with just water, right? And then after that, we also have soap, and we're gonna just try to clean it with like a microfiber cloth. I also have the scrubby, just in case I need a scrubby. I usually never use scrubbies on cars, but hey, this is extreme measures. We have clay bar. So if you don't know what, this is actually a very light grade clay bar. I typically use only light. I don't use coarse or medium level. And then we have soapy water right here. Literally just soapy water. Some 70% iso alcohol, our waterless washer. This is actually a really common stripper for adhesive that might work really well. And that's pretty much it. Also, I have a polisher that I have on standby. This is, if really all else fails, I will use that. It'll suck because I'll have to throw away the pad, but hey, we're gonna do this for science. So let's get started. We're gonna go ahead. We got the pressure washer going right now. Let's see how much of it comes out. Let's move some of this stuff so that it doesn't totally get wet. Okay, so let's go. Starting with here. This isn't looking good. Yeah, nothing is coming out on that one. All right, CC. That doesn't look good. Heyo. Some of the bigger ones are coming out. You see that? So let me just try on the vinyl again. Wow, that's not coming out. Oh, sorry, I went underneath it. So we actually, this was installed this morning, that's probably why.
The PPF?
Yeah, but it's okay. This is the ceramic coating right here. Wow, that's a thick coat. Who did this? Okay, it's actually coming out when I get closer though. Okay, so here's the interesting part. If you looked at some of the areas that got, that actually came off, like here, this is actually not the CC. However, notice if it's a bigger amount of spray paint, it does tend to come out a little bit easier than it is when it's like lighter. Like this is all light right here. And yeah, like none of it came out. Like that was difficult. And then you can see right here, this was a little bit lighter, and then you see some, like this was a big chunk right there that came off, and then same thing for here. This is about 1800 PSI, just so you know, and then this is using the active pressure washer with, you know, just a little head right here, and the nozzle I think is 35, I forget which degree, but I think it's 35 or 45, I forget. But that's what it is. Anything above like 2100 is going to be really not that safe for a car, honestly. It will chip off your paint, but that is the result. And let me get the steel plate, wherever it is. It's down here. This one's misty, so this is gonna be fun. Oh, like, yep, nothing is coming off. Okay, very, very misty. So that's great. That's a good challenge. So I think I'm actually impressed of how much actually came off. You can see that. Once it came off, it's actually completely off. You really don't see any remnants of it, which is a really good sign on the PPF side. So next up, what should we do? Should we do Soapy solution? So for this one, this is literally just soap.
Use your scrubber if you want.
Yeah, we'll just use scrubber for this video. I would not recommend this normally for like your car. This is not what you're supposed to do. But like I said, this is some extreme measures. I mean, your car just got vandalized. What are you gonna do? Yeah, that sucks.
Is it transferring on the sponge?
Nope. I mean, it's really not coming out. All right, let's do it on the vinyl. Yeah, this is like, it's even harder because it's so loose. A little bit, you see that? Oh, there you go. So for context, guys, we did this about 4 hours ago. So we've had this sitting, baking out in the sun for 4 hours. The number one step, and I just want to tell you, if you can get to it faster, you have a much higher chance of getting off, right, than it is like here. So this is like the worst case scenario that we're actually testing right now. And you can see on the vinyl with CC right now, I'm actually able to get some of that off. And it sucks, but it's actually coming out, like surprisingly.
That's ceramic coating, right?
Yeah, this one does have ceramic coating. So this is a lot of work, but it does come out. And yeah, I think with time, man, this is gonna take a long time if you were having to do this. And this is a long day for you. Okay, so it does work right there. And then let's do it without ceramic coating. And this ceramic coating that we put in particular is the Gion Mose Evo. That's what we typically sell as well. It does come out, but I can tell you right now that it definitely was a little bit easier getting this out. Okay, so it does come out, although difficult. Wow, there you go. And just for context, guys, this is actually what I used. It's a paint and primer for indoor outdoor. It's a gloss cherry red. Okay, so it does come out with just soapy water. Whoops. Let's go ahead and use the CC over here. Oh yeah, this one comes out way easier. And if you're wondering, I have This is what happens. I have color PPF. It's going to be the same output as this, just so you know. This is without CC.
Isn't the film kind of pre-coated as well?
It is pre-coated. However, you can tell that this is definitely a little bit smoother, just a little bit. But I think it does help, right? So, okay, this part does come out pretty well. All right, this is all CC. Hey, that's pretty good. Again, normally I would not use, I feel bad using this because I would never recommend this for a car wash. But hey, I'm kind of also thinking about it in the context of the Cybertruck, right? Like you could actually use a Scotch-Brite on a Cybertruck. And then let's go ahead and use it on the steel. I mean, it works. It's just freaking hard. I'm putting like all my force, but it does come out just ever so slightly. You see that? So rating wise, whew,
Out of breath?
out of breath. I mean, it works. Let's see if all the other ones work better though. I think others will work a little bit better. So we got this. This is actually our waterless car wash. So typically you do want to use like a microfiber, but we're going to use this.
Behind you if you want it.
This is going to be easier. So this is going to be man, this thing is in there. Started to come out right there. I think once you get a little bit started, it does get a little bit easier in the surrounding areas. Just my opinion. Okay. I mean, it does come out. It's just, it's more of an inconvenience. I really hope, it's so sad that people are doing this to private, you know, like just people in general, and that have nothing to do. I think a lot of people are causing the harm to somebody that they shouldn't. Yeah, it works. Again, even harder than the previous one, actually. One thing, too, that I want to just point out is that I may have been, you know, this is abrasive. And it might seem a little bit more effective on the next one because I've already kind of rubbed it, right? So I want to be clear about that. It might not necessarily be the product. It might be also because I did already clean it prior.
And what is waterless wash?
Waterless wash has carnauba wax. It has some sort of like a filter water polymer emulsion. The carnauba wax does help it so that it kind of glides a little bit easier. It's usually not necessarily for getting something this strong. So I'm not surprised that I would say, honestly, let's say this happened immediately and like within a few minutes you could use something like a waterless wash. But if it's been a long time, I would probably recommend something a little bit stronger. That's why I think it's just the PPF is so good. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's about the same, I would say, or maybe a little bit less effective. All right, so I forgot to do it on this one, so let's just go ahead and do it here. This is just waterless. Just spray a bunch. It's a little pink, so. Here's the thing, these all work. Oh, did I scratch that though? These all work, but it's not easy. I'm trying to look for something that it makes it like really easy. It's like obvious. Okay, so I think it's effective. It's good in a way where soap and waterless wash and stuff like this will actually prevent a lot of the scratching on the surface of the, either if it's a Cybertruck, it's obviously steel, but it helps it glide, like whatever you're using as abrasive, it's helping it glide, so it prevents at least minimal scratching, right? So this soapy water, it's okay. Wouldn't say it's absolutely amazing. All right, now let's try alcohol. This is supposed to be a little bit stronger in terms of, this is 70%. Oh yeah, alcohol is definitely a lot more effective. So right off the bat, I would get a spray with alcohol right off the bat, and then that was actually pretty minimal. And look at that, all of it is transferred now. I want to see if I could just put it all in there. I wonder if it helps to just like kind of let it sit a little bit. Yeah, you can see that. If you remembered in the previous one, I used this thing right here, and it took me a really long time to get through that. So the fact that the alcohol just moves the spray paint is way more effective. I can tell you that right now. Let's go ahead and try the next part, which is right here. This is a vinyl with CC. Yeah, same thing for this one. Way easier. I'm assuming it's going to be the same right here. Yep. Yes, this is this is way more effective. I'm excited for it all cross off side. Oh. There we go. Wow. So this definitely breaks down a lot of that paint much more aggressively than, for example, like the soap. So I would say compared to this, soap is definitely not as effective. Right away, I would go straight into the alcohol. I tend to go with the 70%. I feel like 90 can be a little bit too much. But yeah, even on this, which is ceramic coated, I can tell that it's definitely lighter, meaning it's easier to get rid of right here with just ceramic versus here, which is nothing on it, right? So alcohol, so far is the best right now, but I still have a couple more things that I need to test. So I got this. This is a very common, I think a lot of wrap shops will recognize this. We call this the pink stuff, and they just get what that means. And when we do a lot of removals in vehicle wraps, this is their best friend. It works really well to get rid of them. You can also use like a 3M adhesive remover as well. That's kind of similar to this. So that's kind of the category. I should probably wear gloves for this. I should probably wear gloves for all of it. But this is called Easy Stripper 2 Film Adhesive Remover. And I think it definitely has an alcohol agent or something like that. I feel like it should work pretty well. All right, so let me just kind of look at what this is. This is, it has that sign, which means that it's pretty highly chemical. Doesn't actually say exactly what's in it, but it doesn't smell very good. So that's why we're doing it outside, probably. That's a much better idea. Okay, the pink stuff, here we go. Let's try it right here. I don't think I've touched that yet. Just gonna let it, typically I let it just simmer right here. Okay, surprisingly, that was not as good as I thought. All right, let me try to douse it a little bit more. Maybe I need more. This one, I actually do end up using a lot. Dang, that doesn't work. Okay. Man, that isn't if you notice, when I did the alcohol, you could actually see it more like as I rub, you could see it kind of rub off and then, you know, transfer it into the microfiber or whatever you're working off. I don't know if it makes sense to do it on all. I mean, maybe I could just because to stay consistent, but man, that thing doesn't really work that well. I mean, I'm pushing as hard as I did. I mean, just to make it a little bit more competitive, I guess, with the other stuff, maybe I could put a large amount of it right here. Look at that. And you can see it actually doesn't do much better. So I think I'm gonna skip this actually because it doesn't do any better than, I would say, in fact, the Waterless or like the Soapy water does better than this one. So, I mean, this isn't for that, right? This is actually for adhesives, right? So let's say you remove an emblem or something like that. That's what that's for. So it really wasn't intended for this. I mean, that makes sense that it's not that effective. So one other thing that we wanted to test as well, this is not a solution, is clay bar. You know, clay bar is supposed to get decontamination or contaminants off the vehicle, but can we use it for spray paint after you got vandalized? It does grab a lot, which is good. So right off the bat, yes, I think clay bar is actually a really good. I mean, it does grab quite a bit, and you can see the transfer into the clay bar. The thing about clay bar is you do want to knead it like this a little bit pretty frequently, especially because you're getting off a lot of this, right, paint and stuff. But it does work really well. Look at that. So that's good. Let's try it on both of the surfaces right here. Typically, kind of keep it wide. Yeah, this works pretty well too. I mean, I'll kind of grade it based on removability. It's still not easy. However, it's definitely better than some of the other options that we had. Definitely easier with the CC ceramic coating. All right, let's try it again right here. I'm using the soapy water because normally when you're clay barring, you actually do need a lubricant. And in this case, you can use soapy water. Oh yeah, that works really well on the PPF. Yeah, PPF works really well. Same thing. Like I mentioned earlier, there might be not too much of a difference between the two because the Avery Denizen PPF actually comes top coat. So it already has some of the hydrophilic properties. It's just not as long lasting if you put another layer of coating, right? So for the most part, it's going to be probably similar in performance for this. Okay, this is just a ceramic coated right here. Oh yeah, same thing. It comes out pretty well. Yeah, look at all that. And then lastly, we got the steel plate. Try to lubricate it as much as I can. Yeah, this works too. One thing that I forgot to bring today actually to work was I would also try bar keepers. That should honestly work really well with this. You should be able to get rid of some of this, especially if the clay bar is working really well. The bar keeper with a Scotch-Brite, I think that'll do the job. So we've done a lot of the chemicals, right? We got soapy water, waterless, all that stuff. I would say either like a quick detailer or waterless wash or soapy water is your first bet, especially if it's like within the first 30 minutes of vandalism. I think that will work really well. Clay bar works actually pretty dang well. I would say this is one of the better options. And then alcohol. I think alcohol takes the win. 70% alcohol. Just get it in a bottle, spray it in the area, let it simmer a little bit, and then you should be able to get a microfiber and just wipe it out. And that tends to break down some of the chemicals from the spray paint and really get rid of it, right? I think with this though, one tip is time is really important. So if you do happen to be, and I hope you don't, it's gonna be really important for you to act fast and take action right away instead of letting it sit out in the sun for a very long time. But again, this was actually sitting out for 4 hours at least before we even did this video. So that's some good context. So I'm gonna do one more thing, which I think would be kind of fun to test. I'm just gonna wipe this down, try to dry it out. I know some of the labels are probably off and so on. But I think this did a lot better than I thought, to be honest. All right, so this is called a DA polisher, random orbital. And I got some polish right here. I'm just gonna try some test areas real quick. Okay. We'll start with the nothing. All right, so you can see that within literally one pass, it does come off. Here's the problem: you need a crap ton of these pads, which might be end up a lot cheaper. So I'm going to go ahead. Typically, it's normal for polishers or like to use like an air compressor and clean it out. This paint is not really gonna get removed, so I think they're just gonna have to change pads. But for this purposes, I'm just gonna do a few passes in some of these areas. I figured this would work. So if all else fails, this is your next bet. I'm just gonna do a really quick pass on both areas. All right, so right now this is vinyl and you do have to be careful. So if you are gonna be using pad, we always recommend like a yellow or even lighter. Depending on the pad, they do different colors for, I guess, like some are coarser. So like, for example, like Rupes, like the blue is a little bit more coarse, and then yellows are kind of like that medium, right? I think they also have white and then red. I mean, they have a bunch of other colors, but depending on whatever you're using, you can kind of test that. You can see that this came off and the vinyl is actually okay. This has a rear band, so I'm not sure if I could get all of that. There we go, I'm gonna just try to get. Okay, this one's a little bit hard to get because of the curvature right here. And then it kind of goes all the way here. Maybe I could go right here. Yeah, there you go. So that came off like right off the bat. I still got a little bit of paint right here. I'm not gonna do this one because this came up when I was using pressure washer. So let's go ahead and try it. I am out. If you're wondering, I love this brand. It's called Obert. It's not sponsored or anything, but good guys at Obert Car Care. All right, we'll go a little bit here, give it a little bit here. I think we can call it a day. So we got all right, so you can see, look at that, right? Obviously, you could get a few passes, but I mean, if you want to waste your, save your arm from scrubbing and all that, I think a polisher does make life a lot simpler. I think if you're a shop, that's probably what you're gonna be doing just to save labor time. You can see right here where I passed through, this is the PPF, completely gone right off the bat, took literally a few seconds. The reason why we did this last though is because I think most people aren't going to have a polisher just laying around. These are, like this one's I think $500-600. Unless you do detailing and car stuff, you really wouldn't have this. If you are, we do use a Milwaukee, the wireless one with a 50mm throw, and then we also use the Rupes, and we have a bunch of those polishers at our shop. So that's what I would recommend. But I think this is a really good indicator. It does come off. Time is of essence. Some of the alcohol works really well. Clay bar works well. Maybe immediate pressure washer might work as well if it was really, really quick. And then off the bat, if you do take it to a shop and they have a polisher, you can definitely do that. And it should come off. Oh, one last thing I forgot to try it on was the actual steel. Can you polish steel? Absolutely. I think a lot of people think that you can't polish steel, but I mean, you've seen some of those where you have like those mirror finished Cybertrucks. I mean, how are they doing that? Well, they polish it, right? So we're just gonna, this is a little harder to polish because it's just in my hand, I guess. That was a little hard. I can't tell. Did I get anything off? I did? Yeah. Are you sure? Okay. I didn't use any, oh yeah. All right, this is a little hard. You can definitely tell that it came off, it lightened up right here. And again, I didn't actually use much of a compound, right? So it will work as well on this. Yeah, I mean, you can also see when you do one thing about steel polishing, on top of getting rid of the paint, you're gonna get a lot of stuff on your pads. So you're gonna go through even more pads if you're actually doing this on a Cybertruck. So just keep that in mind. I think a professional would know if that's what they're doing. So, I mean, that pretty much sums up the whole experimentation. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I'm very impressed with the alcohol aspect of it and then also like the clay bar. But here's the thing, right? Let's say, unfortunately, it did happen to you. This is actual film, and I actually removed it earlier. And if all else fails, this is all you need to do. You can remove this. And you know the best part about all this is if you actually bought our kit at Tesbros.com, we'll replace that panel for you if you got vandalized and you send us some photos. Like, we want to stand behind our community and make sure you're taken care of. It sucks that this happened to you. So we're going to replace that part free of charge. You just pay for shipping. That's it. So we did roll that out just a couple weeks ago, I think. And then same thing for vinyl. Yes, if you were able to get rid of it, great. If you weren't, that's not a problem, because just like the PPF, you could simply remove that panel. Wow, you can't remove that one. That one's bad. That one's some damage right there. But you can remove it, replace it, and we only use really high quality vinyl. So this is actually from Avery Denizen or 3M, or one or the other. And I like it because it's a double cast. It has very high color consistency, meaning if you put it a few months later, typically I haven't had issues in terms of color nuances where it's totally different, right? Some of the other brands, I feel like they have some issues with that. All the other areas, you could see the difference between ceramic coated. I think this was ceramic coated, and then this wasn't. You could get rid of it, right? It's just, I found it a lot easier to get rid of some of the spray paint on the ceramic coating, and that makes sense, right? It's because you're basically creating another layer between, you know, the surface of the paint and then the spray paint. So because of that, and it has that hydrophobic properties, it will make it easier to clean. So hopefully that was helpful. That was a lot of fun. Make sure you click on that subscribe button. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you later.